Welcome back to the channel. We're diving into a film that doesn't just ask what if we could change the past, but brutally answers, what if we can't? We're talking about Terry Gilliam's 1995 masterpiece, 12 Monkeys. A film that blends paranoia, time travel, and the tragic inevitability of fate into a stunning, unforgettable experience. Our story begins in the year 2035. The surface of the Earth is uninhabitable, scoured by a deadly, man-made virus released in 1996. Humanity's remnants live in cramped, subterranean colonies, ruled by a council of scientists. Our protagonist is James Cole, played by Bruce Willis, a convict with a haunted past, chosen for a mission that is less about heroism and more about survival. Cole is a volunteer, which in this dystopian future, means he's been coerced into a dangerous, one-way trip. His task, travel back in time, not to stop the virus. The scientists believe the past is immutable, but to gather a pure sample of the original pathogen. This sample will help them develop a cure for the survivors in the future. The time travel technology is, shall we say, unrefined. Instead of 1996, Cole is accidentally sent to 1990. This is our first major twist, and it immediately sets the tone for the film's chaotic, unreliable nature. Cole, disoriented and spouting prophecies of a future plague, is promptly arrested and diagnosed with a severe mental disorder. In the asylum, he meets two key figures, his future psychiatrist, Dr. Catherine Riley, and the manic, privileged, and deeply disturbed Jeffrey Goins. Goins, the son of a famous virologist, is a whirlwind of anti-establishment rhetoric. Cole's brief, confusing encounter with Goins will have catastrophic, unintended consequences. After a brief, terrifying misfire to a World War I battlefield, a classic Gilliam visual, Cole finally lands in the correct year, 1996. He kidnaps Dr. Riley, forcing her to help him track down the group he believes is responsible for the plague, the Army of the 12 Monkeys. The film now becomes a psychological thriller. Is Cole a time traveler trying to save the world, or a delusional schizophrenic who has woven a complex fantasy around a childhood memory? Dr. Riley, initially convinced he's insane, begins to see cracks in her own reality as Cole makes eerily accurate predictions and demonstrates knowledge he shouldn't possess. Cole's investigation leads him back to Jeffrey Goins, who has been released from the asylum. Goins is now the charismatic, unhinged leader of the titular Army of the 12 Monkeys. But here's the second, crucial twist. The Army of the 12 Monkeys is not a terrorist cell, they are an animal rights extremist group. Their grand plan? To release animals from the zoo as a protest against humanity. A chaotic, symbolic act, but entirely non-lethal. Cole realizes he's been chasing a ghost, a red herring created by the future scientists' misinterpretation of the group's name and their general anti-human sentiment. As Cole spends more time in the past, his grip on his mission, and his sanity, begins to slip. He starts to fall in love with Dr. Riley, finding a connection and a sense of normalcy he never had in the bleak future. He begins to question the entire mission, wondering if he's truly meant to be a savior or just a pawn in a predetermined, tragic play. He decides to abandon his mission. He calls the future scientists, leaving a message that he's failed and is staying in the past. He's choosing love and a fragile, temporary sanity over the cold, sterile reality of 2035. The scientists, hearing his message, send him back to 2035 for a recalibration. This is where the film's central paradox solidifies. Cole is a product of the future, but his actions in the past are not changing anything. They are causing the future. The scientists, convinced the virus is about to be released, send Cole back one last time. This time, Dr. Riley is fully on board. She has found evidence, a photograph of Cole from the asylum, that proves his story. She realizes the world is not what she thought it was, and that Cole is not insane, but tragically real. Riley gives a lecture on the Cassandra myth, the prophetess cursed to speak the truth but never be believed. This is Cole's fate. He knows the truth, but his warnings are dismissed as madness, ensuring the catastrophe unfolds exactly as it's meant to. The final act takes place at the airport, a place of transit and fate. Cole and Riley are trying to escape, but Cole has one last, desperate mission, to find the real source of the virus. The ultimate twist, the plague is not released by the Army of the 12 Monkeys. It's released by Dr. Leland Goins' assistant, Dr. Peters, a quiet, unassuming virologist who was working with Jeffrey Goins' father. Peters is the true, accidental agent of apocalypse. He's the one carrying the 12 vials of the virus, preparing to board a plane and begin his global tour of destruction. Cole spots Peters and makes a desperate dash to stop him. He is immediately gunned down by airport security. This is the film's most devastating moment, the final, inescapable loop. As Cole lies dying, A young boy watches the entire scene unfold. This boy is young James Cole. The traumatic event that has haunted Cole's dreams and defined his entire life, the memory of a man being shot at an airport, was not a dream, but a memory of his own death. He was sent back in time to live out the very moment that created his future trauma. The film's structure is a closed-loop paradox. Cole's journey to the past was not an attempt to change the past, but the very mechanism by which the past was preserved. His warnings, his actions, his very presence, were all part of the predetermined chain of events. The future scientists didn't send him to save the world, they sent him to fulfill his destiny. Dr. Riley, who finally believed him, is left to witness his tragic end. The prophet is silenced, and the catastrophe is confirmed. And what of the virus? Dr. Peters, the true villain, successfully boards the plane, carrying the 12 vials of the plague. The future is sealed. But wait, there's one last, chilling detail. On the plane, Peters is approached by a woman. She introduces herself as an insurance agent. She is one of the future scientists, sent back to ensure the virus is released and that the future, the one where they survive underground, is preserved. This final shot confirms the scientists' true, cold-blooded agenda. They weren't trying to prevent the plague, they were ensuring their own survival by preserving the timeline that led to their existence. 12 Monkeys is a profound meditation on free will versus determinism. It argues that time is a one-way street, and our attempts to deviate from the path only serve to reinforce it. It's a tragedy wrapped in a sci-fi thriller, a story where the hero's journey is not to save the world, but to become a necessary casualty of its destruction. So, what makes 12 Monkeys a timeless classic? It's the ambiguity. It's the way Terry Gilliam uses his signature chaotic, distorted visual style to perfectly reflect Cole's fractured mental state. It's the brilliant performances. Brad Pitt earned his first Oscar nomination for his unhinged, rapid-fire delivery as Jeffrey Goins. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the paradox of James Cole, please do us a huge favor. Like this video, share it with a friend who loves mind-bending sci-fi, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. 12 Monkeys reminds us that sometimes, the most tragic fate is not to fail, but to succeed in becoming the very thing you were sent to prevent. Thanks for watching.